Did you know that certain foods that seem completely harmless can actually transform into hidden health traps simply because of how they're stored? We're not even talking about highly processed items or those loaded with preservatives. We're discussing everyday natural foods that many of us believe we're wisely protecting by tucking them away in the refrigerator. Yet, what if I told you that this seemingly innocent act could actually be generating dangerous toxins, actively destroying the vital nutrients your body needs, and even silently increasing your risk of serious ailments like cancer, diabetes, and other challenging metabolic disorders? This isn't just a slight inconvenience. For many of us, especially as we mature, these are critical details that could significantly impact our well-being and longevity. Think for a moment. Have you ever placed raw potatoes in the fridge, convinced they'd stay fresh longer, or perhaps an overripe tomato that you hope to salvage? What about that loaf of bread nestled in the cold so it wouldn't spoil? For decades, many of us have followed these routines without a second thought. But the unsettling truth is all of these seemingly harmless habits might be doing your health far more harm than good. In the next few moments, I'm going to pull back the curtain and reveal the unexpected, often hidden effects that refrigeration can have on these common foods. And more importantly, exactly what you need to do right now to truly safeguard your health and the goodness in your food. We're on the Global Health Guide channel, and I'm Kenji Oshiro. I urge you to join our community and subscribe now so you never miss out on practical tips that truly can change your life for the better. Let's get right into it, because what you learn today could empower you to make profoundly healthier choices every single day. One of the most widespread blunders that millions of well-meaning people make daily is storing raw potatoes in the refrigerator. At first glance, it appears to be the most logical choice, doesn't it? We've all been taught that cold preserves food, and surely a potato would be no different. However, with potatoes, the opposite unfortunate truth emerges. The natural starch within a potato converts into sugar at a significantly accelerated rate when exposed to the sustained chill of your refrigerator. This rapid conversion is where a serious and invisible problem begins to brew. Because when that now sugar-rich potato is later cooked at high temperatures, perhaps baked, roasted, or especially fried into a crispy delight, that concentrated sugar undergoes a dangerous chemical reaction with the potato's amino acids, forming a highly toxic compound known as acrylamide. That's right, acrylamide, a substance that modern science has disturbingly linked to an elevated risk of various cancers, including those affecting the ovaries, esophagus, kidneys, and even the uterine lining. You might have noticed a potato dish that seems overly golden, unnaturally crispy, or even has slight burnt spots. While many might savor that extra crispy crust, it's important to understand that it's often laden with these very toxins. Even more concerning, a potato can appear perfectly cooked and not burnt at all, but if it was refrigerated before preparing, its acrylamide levels can be drastically higher, even if you can't detect it by taste. Moreover, the inherent humidity within your refrigerator paradoxically promotes the rapid growth of unsightly mold, harmful bacteria, and fungi on your refrigerated potatoes. So, in addition to harboring potential toxins, the potato actually spoils much faster, becoming soft, developing dark spots, and inevitably ending up in the trash, which is a waste of both food and your hard-earned money. The solution is fortunately quite simple and time-tested. The best way to store potatoes is the old-fashioned proven method. Keep them outside the fridge in a cool, dry, and most importantly, well-ventilated area that's safely away from direct light. Preferably, use an open basket or a breathable cloth bag, and absolutely never ever seal them in plastic bags as this traps moisture. A bonus tip for better health, whenever possible, eat your potatoes with their skin on, as it provides beneficial fiber that can help you control blood sugar spikes. And when you are cooking, aim to avoid extremely high temperatures, keeping them generally below 180 degrees Celsius to minimize acrylamide formation. Now, shift your focus, because the next mistake we often make is even more prevalent in households across the globe: storing ripe tomatoes in the fridge. That familiar refrigerator drawer, often overflowing with those plump red globes, feels like the right place. But the cold truth is that chilled temperatures mercilessly damage the delicate internal membranes of the tomato. This cellular breakdown wreaks havoc on its prized texture, significantly dulls its vibrant flavor, and most critically for your health, drastically compromises its nutritional value. When a fresh tomato is consigned to the fridge, it ceases its natural ripening process, and it's this very ripening journey that truly supercharges the development and action of a powerful antioxidant known as lycopene. Lycopene is an unsung hero, celebrated for its robust protective effects against the insidious march of premature aging, for its critical role in defending against cardiovascular diseases, for its potent anti-inflammatory properties, and even for its remarkable ability to help combat certain types of cancer. It's a vital compound that helps reduce cellular oxidation, effectively slowing down what can be described as the silent rusting of your body. So when you pop a tomato into the fridge, you're inadvertently hindering this phenomenal antioxidant from fully developing and working its protective magic as it should. And let's not forget the immediate sensory impact. Who hasn't experienced the disappointment of biting into a cold, watery, mealy tomato with a distinctly strange, muted taste? That undesirable transformation is precisely the cold literally destroying the fruit's beautiful structure from the inside out. The solution, much like with potatoes, is remarkably simple. Store your tomatoes outside the fridge, ideally in an open, airy basket, away from direct sunlight where they can continue their natural maturation process and retain all their vibrant flavor and beneficial nutrients. And here's a helpful gardener's trick. If you happen to have a particularly green tomato that needs a little push to ripen quickly, place it next to a banana or an apple. These fruits naturally release ethylene gas, a potent ripening agent that will accelerate the process safely and naturally. However, one caution. Try to avoid eating tomatoes that have very noticeable green parts, as these sections can contain a substance called solanine, which can be toxic if consumed in significant quantities. Speaking of staples, let's talk about bread and uncover the third incredibly common mistake: storing your bread in the fridge with the good intention of protecting it from mold. This is a classic habit that many of us, including myself at one point, believed was smart. The primary issue is that the cold temperature inside the refrigerator dramatically accelerates the loss of moisture from the bread, while also systematically breaking down its delicate internal structure. The dismal result? You're left with hard, stale, dry bread that has lost almost all of its appealing aroma and delicious flavor. And if you're indulging in wholesome, natural whole grain or naturally fermented bread, the detrimental effects are often even more pronounced. Furthermore, the circulating humidity that is naturally present inside the refrigerator, which you might not even realize is there, can have the exact opposite effect of your original goal. Instead of preventing mold growth, it can actively promote its rapid proliferation. It may seem counterintuitive, as we often associate the fridge with dryness, but the reality is that there's a consistent level of moisture moving around, which ironically speeds up the formation of unsightly mold. So how should you truly store bread correctly to keep it fresh and flavorful? If you plan to consume the bread within 2 days, your best bet is to keep it at room temperature in an airtight container, or better yet, a breathable cloth bag always tucked away from direct light and any sources of humidity. Now, if you wish to preserve your bread for a longer duration, then the clear winner is your freezer. Yes, freezing bread is by far the safest and most effective method to lock in its freshness, preserve its essential nutrients, and prevent unnecessary food waste. And here's an additional rather fascinating benefit. When frozen bread is later heated, whether in a toaster, an oven, or even a skillet, it can form resistant starch. This unique type of dietary fiber offers remarkable benefits, including significantly improving your digestion, helping to stabilize your blood sugar levels more effectively, and most wonderfully, feeding your beneficial gut microbiota, contributing to a healthier digestive system. Before we move on to uncovering the next surprising foods that are very likely being stored incorrectly and potentially harming your precious health, pause for a moment and consider: do you currently store any of these 3 foods, potatoes, tomatoes, or bread, in your fridge? And have you ever even heard of acrylamide before today? Now, let's venture into part 2 of our discussion. Tell me, have you ever impulsively placed a perfectly green, unripe avocado in the fridge, fully convinced that doing so would help preserve it better or ripen it more slowly? If so, you're not alone. But you should know that this widespread practice can utterly ruin the creamy texture, the rich, nuanced flavor, and the powerhouse nutrients of what is truly one of the healthiest fruits available to us. Avocados are extraordinarily sensitive to cold temperatures, especially when they are not yet fully ripe. When refrigerated prematurely, the essential enzymes responsible for their crucial natural ripening process are effectively deactivated. The unfortunate outcome is a fruit that feels stubbornly hard on the outside, but is fibrous, unappealingly dark-spotted, and distinctly bitter on the inside, with a significantly reduced concentration of its active health-boosting compounds. What only a few people realize is that this simple mistake in timing can prevent your avocado from ever reaching its full potential nutritional glory. It means you're missing out on some of its magnificent healthy fats, the gut-regulating fibers, and the potent antioxidants that are so profoundly important for optimal heart health and robust brain function. The elegant solution is beautifully simple. Allow your avocado to ripen gracefully outside the fridge at comfortable room temperature. And here's a super easy, clever trick to accelerate this process. Simply place your avocado inside a plain paper bag, along with a ripe banana or an apple. As we discussed earlier, these fruits naturally release ethylene gas, a safe and natural ripening stimulator. In just a day or two, you'll discover a perfectly ripe, ready-to-enjoy avocado. Now, once your avocado has reached its ideal state of ripeness, you absolutely can store it in the fridge, but only for a very maximum of 2 days to maintain its quality. And if you've already cut it, preserve its freshness and vibrant color by squeezing a few drops of lemon juice or placing a slice of lime directly over the exposed green pulp. This simple step helps to prevent unsightly oxidation and keeps the color and flavor fresh for longer. If you know with certainty that you won't use it in the next few days, don't hesitate to freeze it. Frozen avocado retains its exceptional nutritional value and is remarkably useful for blending into smooth sauces, creating creamy spreads, or making delightful guacamole. It can be safely stored this way for up to 6 months, ready for whenever you need it. Pay very close attention because the next food item is not only one of the most widely consumed in the entire world, but it's also almost universally stored incorrectly in most households. I'm talking about the humble banana. The vast majority of people, upon returning home from the grocery store, immediately put their fresh bananas into the fridge. And this, as you're about to learn, is a significant mistake. The banana's peel, the protective outer layer, is incredibly sensitive to cold temperatures. When it's refrigerated, this delicate peel quickly begins to darken and turn black, often even before the soft, sweet fruit inside is truly past its prime. This rapid discoloration isn't actually about the banana ripening further. It's a direct chemical reaction indicating the degradation of its natural pigments due to the cold shock. And internally, the cold's adverse effects are even worse. Chilling radically alters the banana's desired texture, making it mealy, unpleasantly soft, and even altering its naturally sweet taste, all while significantly reducing its bioavailability of essential nutrients. But here's an extremely vital detail, especially for those mindful of their health as they age. The riper a banana becomes, the higher its glycemic index. This means that a very ripe, soft banana will release its sugars into your bloodstream much faster, causing quicker, more pronounced spikes in both glucose and insulin levels. Such rapid and repeated spikes actively promote increased hunger shortly after eating, lead to greater fat accumulation around the waist, and over time can significantly increase your risk of developing serious conditions such as insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and even certain types of cancer. So the absolute best way to consume a banana, maximizing its nutritional benefits while managing its sugar impact, is when it's at just the right stage, when its peel is fully yellow, but notably free of major dark spots or overly soft areas. To store it optimally and keep it fresh longer, deliberately avoid putting it in the cold of the refrigerator, and instead, try this clever trick. Wrap the very stems of your bunch of bananas tightly with aluminum foil or plastic wrap. This simple barrier dramatically slows down the natural release of ethylene gas from the stems, thereby delaying the banana's overall natural ripening process and keeping the fruit fresh and perfectly edible for a noticeably longer period. And if you have truly ripe bananas that you wish to preserve and avoid wasting, that's fantastic. Simply peel them, slice them into convenient portions, store them in airtight containers or freezer-safe bags, and then you can easily use them later for delicious healthy smoothies, in homemade pancakes, or as a natural sweetener in your favorite healthy desserts. Now we arrive at a very serious point in our discussion concerning a truly powerful food that, if stored incorrectly, can genuinely become a real health hazard rather than a health ally. I am referring to garlic. Yes, garlic, so widely praised and rightfully so for its remarkable medicinal properties, can unfortunately lose much of its potency if you make the common mistake of storing it in the refrigerator. And even more critically, under specific poor storage conditions, it can even tragically promote the growth of incredibly dangerous bacteria. Let's unravel this potential danger. When you store raw garlic, particularly if it's already chopped, minced, or even just peeled in the cold environment of the fridge, the low temperature paradoxically stimulates premature sprouting. Those distinct green shoots that often emerge from the middle of the garlic cloves are a clear indicator that the garlic's metabolism has fundamentally changed. This alteration specifically reduces the presence and effectiveness of a lysine, which is the most important and active compound in garlic, largely responsible for its powerful anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, and protective effects on both your heart and brain. However, the far more significant and truly dangerous problem arises when people decide to create that popular homemade mix of chopped garlic infused in olive oil, storing it conveniently in a jar, and then leaving it sitting out at room temperature for easy access. It certainly seems practical, doesn't it? But it is, without exaggeration, an extremely perilous practice. This specific combination, chopped garlic and oil in an oxygen-deprived environment at room temperature, creates an absolutely perfect breeding ground for the dreaded bacterium Clostridium botulinum, which is the exact cause of botulism. Botulism is a profoundly serious illness that can devastatingly affect the nervous system, leading to muscle weakness, paralysis, and in extreme tragic cases, it can even lead to death. So what is the absolute safest way to store this miraculous ingredient? Always store whole, unpeeled garlic bulbs in a dry, cool, well-ventilated place that is safely away from any direct light. And if you genuinely wish to have convenient chopped garlic ready on hand, without risking your health, the only safe way to do it is to freeze it. Simply chop your garlic, place small manageable portions into ice cube molds or small freezer bags, and keep them frozen. This method preserves garlic's unique flavor, its potent beneficial properties, and most importantly, your absolute safety. Finally, we've arrived at the last food on this crucial list, and it might just be the most surprising of all, honey. For countless generations, honey has been cherished and widely considered a healthier, natural alternative to refined sugar, a belief that is certainly rooted in truth. Indeed, real honey is teeming with incredible natural compounds that bestow powerful anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and antioxidant properties. However, as shocking as it may seem, all of those wonderful health benefits can be dramatically wasted or even turn into a subtle risk if you fail to store honey correctly. A staggeringly common error is, once again, storing honey in the fridge. Many individuals perform this action thinking they are expertly preserving it, but the reality is precisely the opposite of what they intend. The sustained cold temperatures in your refrigerator trigger a process called crystallization, where the honey's natural sugars meticulously separate from the water content within it. This leaves you with honey that is grainy, cloudy, noticeably harder, and generally quite difficult to scoop and use effectively. Here's where a more insidious problem emerges. When people see their beautifully clear honey transformed into a hard, crystallized state, they often incorrectly assume it has spoiled or gone bad. Their immediate instinct, driven by a desire to fix it, leads them to the absolute worst possible solution: heating it aggressively, either by nuking it in the microwave or by placing the jar directly in a pan of hot water on the stove. The profound danger here is that when natural honey is heated above approximately 40 degrees, 104 degrees, it experiences a significant degradation and loss of many of its crucial enzymes and a large portion of its precious antioxidants. In essence, by overheating it, you are literally stripping away much of its valuable medicinal potency, rendering it a less beneficial, if not entirely inert, version of its former self. So, the absolute best and simplest way to ensure your honey retains its full integrity, therapeutic benefits, and delectable qualities is to store it straightforwardly at room temperature. Keep it in a tightly sealed glass jar, diligently away from any direct sunlight and excessive humidity. This method perfectly preserves its natural smooth texture, its exquisite aroma, and all its wonderfully beneficial properties. However, here is a final, exceptionally critical point, one that particularly warrants your attention. Despite being a natural product and brimming with the virtues we've discussed, honey is fundamentally and significantly rich in sugar. This stark fact means that its excessive, uncontrolled consumption carries precisely the same profound health risks as consuming highly refined table sugar. Regularly overindulging in honey will predictably raise your blood sugar levels, overwork your hard-working pancreas, substantially increase your triglyceride levels, and actively promote the accumulation of unwanted fat in your liver, eventually contributing to chronic inflammation throughout your body. Honey is, by no means, a harmless, eat-as-much-as-you-like food. It is undeniably powerful, yes, but it should genuinely be regarded and used like a potent medicine, applied with deliberate moderation. A modest serving, perhaps 1 teaspoon once or twice a day, can be genuinely beneficial for specific acute cases, such as soothing a cough from a cold or easing a sore throat. But using honey generously as an everyday, healthier sugar substitute in everything you consume can, over time, produce the exact opposite effects of what you might optimistically expect. So, if you've been consuming honey liberally, operating under the mistaken belief that it's fundamentally superior to any other form of sugar in all contexts, please exercise significant caution. In the final metabolic analysis, if consumed in excess, your body will unfortunately react to it in the very same detrimental way it reacts to refined sugar, leading to undesirable insulin spikes, increasing your feelings of hunger, encouraging the stubborn accumulation of abdominal fat, and elevating your overall risk of developing severe metabolic diseases. To comprehensively recap the invaluable insights we've uncovered, here are the 7 essential foods you should immediately cease storing in your refrigerator for the sake of your enduring health. First, raw potatoes. They alarmingly become a covert source of acrylamide, a compound linked to cancer. Next, tomatoes. They tragically surrender their authentic flavor, delightful texture, and crucial antioxidants like lycopene when chilled. Third, bread. It inexplicably dries out at an accelerated pace in the cold, sacrificing its desirable properties, and, counterintuitively, actually fosters mold growth due to internal humidity. Fourth, unripe avocados. If refrigerated before their peak, their natural ripening process grinds to a halt, resulting in a disheartening loss of their highly beneficial nutrients. Fifth, bananas. They not only darken externally, but also alter their taste internally and critically. Their glycemic index sharply increases when subjected to cold temperatures. Sixth, garlic. It can sprout prematurely and lose its essential allicin, and, far more gravely, poses a severe risk of causing botulism if haphazardly stored, especially when chopped and combined with oil at room temperature. And finally, honey. It crystallizes frustratingly in the cold and perilously loses its vital properties and potent benefits if misguidedly overheated to fix this issue. If, after hearing all this, you find that you have unwittingly made one or even several of these common storage mistakes, please do not blame yourself for a moment. It is truly important to remember that the vast majority of people follow these same practices, genuinely believing they are acting responsibly to take the best care of their family's health and food. But now, the vital truth has been revealed to you, and with just a few simple actionable changes in your daily routine, you possess the powerful knowledge to far better protect both the integrity of your food and, ultimately, the sanctity of your own precious body. Do tell us in the comment section below which of these common mistakes you have inadvertently been making without truly knowing the hidden dangers. Do you still habitually refrigerate any of these essential foods, sincerely thinking you were doing the absolute right thing all along? If this truly transformative content has helped you in any meaningful way today, please honor us by liking this video, share this crucial information widely with someone in your cherished family or circle of friends. Someone you deeply care about truly needs to hear this. And of course, wholeheartedly subscribe to the Global Health Guide channel, where we are devoted to bringing you invaluable insights designed to help you live a healthier, longer, and more vibrant life. We will see you in the next truly valuable insight.